We'll be recording this session, and in case you want to go back to it, you can go back to it. And if you have any questions around it, you can ask me later as well. I'll start with sharing my presentation first, and and then we'll slowly move to the painting and basically the whole workshop around the emotions that we're going to talk about. Art for emotions and art for all. So basically, art and emotions have always forever gone together. Like, you sometimes look at a painting and you feel related to it, or you feel agitated by it. You feel that it is very complicated. So, I, as an artist, have learned this over time on how art can affect our emotions. But not only that, but how we can help ourselves by understanding these emotions better. We have our introductions. I will just go through some parts of emotions and art. Basically, I'll explain the concept of this, the idea of emotions with art logically to you. Then we will paint our week. And finally, we'll go to painting our emotions. About myself, so I am a practicing fine artist and I am based out of Taiwan from the past 2 years. I'm originally from Pune, India, and I've studied in Pune and Mumbai. And from the past 2 years, I have been based out of Taiwan. So in Taiwan and India, I have had workshops, I organize art workshops, I do exhibitions, and basically teach art. Have my own products. So basically, I do everything and anything related to art. My art is mostly florals. So I started painting florals from a really long time ago, almost 3, 4 years back, and I have been painting florals for the longest time. And slowly, as 2 years back, when we moved to Taiwan, what happened was it was a big change for me. For the past 10 years, I was in India and I was very happy in India. And then we had to move to Taiwan, me, my family. You can see my husband, my son, he's 6 years old. And we had to move. And it was a tough decision for all of us. So when we moved, I started journaling very regularly. So I used to anyways journal, but then I started journaling very regularly. And every time I journaled, I used to see that I'm writing down my emotions and then how I'm feeling or how it's different or how it is difficult. And then slowly, I started incorporating journaling into art. And so basically, my art started becoming less about the flowers that I was painting, more about the emotions I was feeling. So the black painting that you see in the first painting, in the first photograph on the left, is actually called Happiness. And is what I'm painting more of nowadays. Basically, I kind of merged my love of journaling, flowers, and then emotions. And what is the one thing that depicts emotion? It is heart. So I started painting hearts. And if you see, this is not our emoji heart. So it's basically the anatomical version of the heart. And it's the scientific version of the heart. So I started making the anatomical version, that's a scientific version of the heart in terms of flowers. So moving on, let us start with the theory of emotions. Okay, basically, what are these emotions and how I started working around the emotions. And basically, I feel like every time you do something, you want to hear some logic around it, right? I mean, if someone says, okay, art and emotions are related, you want to know how they are related. So there are a lot of theories around emotions, but there's one thing for sure that there is an event and it gives you a body-based response, like a physiological response and an emotional response. There are two kinds of responses that happen. So let us just imagine all 20 odd of us were in this room and we were in a single room and a cat entered. Okay, so if a cat entered this room, I would be yelling and I would probably sit up on my chair and I would be really scared. Physiological response that I had to the cat was the fact that I would be yelling and probably that I would get up and sit up on a chair. And the emotional response is that I am very scared. Okay. Now, I'm sure the same thing happens. The cat comes in, and maybe half of us would go and start cuddling the cat, or probably giving it food, or saying it's so cute because look at it, it is cute, right? I think that is the way we all interpret emotions. It's very different for all of us. Now, the reason I am scared of a cat is because many years ago when I was still a child. I was sleeping. We were in a very in a house close to nature by the garden, and a cat jumped onto me. So I am forever scared of cats. Now that's because of that. The interpretation of emotion every time I see a cat is I'm scared. So maybe for some others, it'll be all love, it'll be all fun, and it'll be all emotional. So basically, we all have emotions, but the interpretation is different. And this interpretation actually holds the key to a lot of things. Okay. So in front of you is my hearts that I always make. So I tear my own paintings to make these hearts. In the middle is a scientific heart. Okay. And on the left and the right are basically the art hearts that I make. Now, I would love to hear from you what you're feeling when you're seeing both the hearts, because I know both of them are very different. And that is what art does. It simulates an emotion in you. So that's what it is, right? And it's so true. When I was making that heart, the blue heart was the one where I tore boxes of our travel. So we traveled in 180 boxes from India to Taiwan, and I was tearing those boxes because I was missing my family so much. I was tearing those boxes to make those hearts. So that heart is it is sad, and the other heart is like when I have settled in my new country and I'm happy, I'm okay, I'm resolved. So it's a happy art. So this is what art does. Art makes you feel a certain kind of emotion. It makes you feel what probably is not something that you can feel very easily per se. Okay, about the actual painting and the actual process of painting, right? So it's very easy. What we are going to do today is we are going to paint our emotions. Even scientifically, there are certain styles in art which give a certain emotion. Okay, so if you see the first one, the blue one, which is like a wave, it's a simple wave. It means it's happiness. Okay, the colors of happiness. Can you tell me the colors of happiness? Yellow, yeah, yellow, obviously, yeah, yellow. So happiness is always bright, and that is what that is what gives us happiness, right? Like it can we can say that makes us happy, right? The lines will never be smooth, right? Because happiness may there's also chaos. You are happy, but you'll be yelling, shouting. You'll never be passive. You'll never be okay, like calm, and when you're happy, right? So there's some amount of chaos when you're happy. So that's why the shape of a wave, right? And then there's sadness, right? Sadness is dark. It's almost smooth, like it takes you down further, right? So the colors are black and dark, or either it's a straight line or dotted line or something of that line. And then is anger, right? Anger is like when you are really feeling highly disturbed, right? So then you will have something pointed and something scribbling or something that's very highly chaotic. It's probably the best color to represent anger is red. And there's the anxiety. Anxiety is when you are like struggling or you're thinking what is going to happen, how is it going to happen, and you just make repeated marks, right? There's a repetition. Anxiety keeps coming and going and coming and going. So again, there's a repetition around anxiety. So that is what basically uh, science tells us in terms of how you can interpret art in terms of emotions. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is together, we are going to simply have a page. So open your page. I have chosen the color blue. You can choose color yellow or any bright color that suggests happiness for you. Okay. We are just going to paint it in waves. So simple color, just paint it around. And my request is just think about how your week went, um, whether it was happy, how happy you felt. Now, don't try to be very perfect. If you see, my lines are also not perfect. So just try to do what comes naturally to you and just make these waves. When you're making it, just think about the emotions that you're feeling. As we grow, we kind of reduce the importance of happiness. So I think our brain tends to think more about the things that went wrong versus the things that went well. And this activity, whenever I do it, I always feel more grounded. Like I feel, okay, there are more things to be grateful for. than I actually imagined, especially if you consider the whole week, right? In your perspective, that how is my week went, then we generally tend to say, oh my God, it was such a horrible week. I had like so much work in office, or so much, my child troubled me so much, or so many things, right? But when we look at it from the perspective of, I've now moved to sadness. I have mixed black and brown for it. You can use any color. If you're not able to make a perfect straight line, then you can make these kind of line dots, and you can just try to. You can also make it like this, like pointed lines, just to express that, there was a depth of sadness. There's something very sad you were about, and then there was just something straight. So different ways how you can showcase your sadness. Now, while I'm telling you this, there's not one single way of doing this. You can do it in any way you feel comfortable in. If you can be as honest to yourself in terms of actually how your week went, then that is when art will actually help you, because it will serve as a tool for you to be more grateful about what you have, and two, be the emotion of anger. You can take a pen, or you can take your paper, right? Or you can take your brush. The idea is we do the scribbling here. Okay, so one full line of scribbling. Now, if you had anger of some sort, or of something that you're really angry about, now your painting can look very different from mine, right? Because maybe, so while I am teaching right now, maybe there was more anger in your week. So maybe you can do that. If you want to do it with a with a brush, and you want to use red, you can do that as well. So just hold the brush straight. You don't have to really be very technically strong in this, and just scribble like you would scribble on a piece of uh, paper with a pencil. Just you have to hold the brush in a 90-degree position. Okay, so you can do the same thing and just scribble it out. Release your emotions when you're doing this. As I'm saying it, release your emotions, like feel the anger when you're doing it. If you want, you can just take one full page and fill it with this whole with only anger. I am just giving you a tool for you to be able to express. But otherwise, if you feel strongly about it, like I said, you can have one full page of only scribbles. The last emotion, I think one of the emotions that I feel much more than any other is anxiety. Anxiety is Anxiety is the best way to even talk to your anxiety per se is to have repetitive marks. So by repetitive marks, I mean like any kind of repetitive marks. Okay, you can make circles. I love to make lines. Just keep repeating. Okay, like how we do in prayer, right? When we chant, when we say something, when we tell our God's name. Very similar to that. Just repeat it. So we painted our week, right? Now we are going to paint fun, intuitive abstracts. Okay. Now these are just simple drawings. If you have more pieces of paper, I will encourage you to do many of them. Okay. Now you see in front of your screen, I did this for the session today. Um, I have used two colors in the base. So basically, let's say you can take a problem. So probably let's do this. First, you see me painting, and then you can follow me. You can think about anything. Okay, so let's think about my current situation in India, right? I am just here for the next 1 week, and then I have to leave. Okay, so I am going to. So this is my first. So how do I feel, right? Again, coming to the emotions, the first thing I feel is obviously sadness, and I want to depict said sadness by red and black, right? I have black as well, so I'm going to do that. So just any shape. I'm really not doing anything. Two things to remember artistically only is let it occupy, let it be the center of your page. So अगर ये आपका center है page का, so then just try to make sure it's only in the center of the page and not covering the full page, and that's only for the basis of aesthetics, nothing else. Okay, so this is your base. This is how you're fully feeling, right? This is how you're exactly feeling right now. And then obviously there's some anger, right? I really don't have a lot of anger on leaving India, but okay, I have anger on the rains. it's raining a lot. I'm unable to step outside. So many things I'm not able to do. So a little bit of anger. Okay. Then, of course, there's so much happiness. I get to meet my friends after so long. It's been a year. I come once a year. So then I have my happiness around here. Okay. And this activity, you can do this with every problem. You can do it with your day in school, you can do it with your day at work, you can do it your day at home, you can do anything. So again, the symbols are the same, but the way we are expressing it is different, right? We're trying to express it in a more aesthetic way, or in a more, how do you say, in a more artistic way. Okay. So next, last is my anxiety. Obviously, my anxiety has been at its peak. Uh, it's mostly due to the fact that I was ill a little bit. I had a bit of cold. Traveling in the cold is tough. So of course, with my son to manage. So then I'm also going through a big change at work. So lots of anxiety, and that's how I'm covering it. So see what is there, and also see what is not there. How am I seeing the situation? What I like, what I don't. Like, what did I like in this workshop? What did I not like? What is hiding from me? Could I have done something better? So, this is what these intuitive abstracts will do for you. If you write down what you're feeling, and you don't have to be very like a writer or somebody like that, you can just write your basic emotions about how you're feeling and what you do, then it can help you feel in a much better way. Now, how do I use it every day? I will always suggest art journaling. I'm sure every one of us must have tried to journal once in this year. I'm sure we all start the year thinking we are going to journal. But if you're not able to journal, then this is the best solution. Okay. Just make marks. You don't have to make all the 4 marks also. You don't have to make all the 4 types also. If your only major feeling is anxiousness, you only make anxiousness. You just make those repetitive lines. Cover the complete page with those abstract, with those. Very nice. No, I'm amazed actually. So many kids, and they did a good job, all of them.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, Shipta. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining in.